It's almost as if it's a story that never ends, huh? But it's not supposed to, because it's not one story. It's two converging stories. Right now you're seeing Trump in active mode. And so he's spewing out a lot of things that unfortunately he can't take back. We covered over the last couple of days how he continues to chastise and attack his base, the MAGA base, and he tripled down yesterday. And I'll cover it for you. But there's something else that happened. Because in this active mode, he also cracked. And he announced something. Something critically important. Because you see, it may appear that there's this monster divide. It's not that big. Because in actuality, there's something that's tying it all together. But right now, even Trump is having trouble understanding why people aren't understanding what he has in his mind. Because we're not privy to all the information. And I'm not so short-sighted to not understand that. But luckily, I can explain to you a little bit more of what's happening and why he is so incendiary right now. And why it wouldn't make sense that he's attacking the very people that put him where he's at. And why he seems to be retreating from a story that his administration has already admitted to. Because it is the ties that bind to the biggest story of what he's working on behind the scenes that, well, he put on the table yesterday. And that's the story I'll bring you in 1 minute. Okay, so first we got to get the full flavor and impact of this attack on his own base. Here was one of the first examples.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible.
So we'll stop there, right? So everybody went a little crazy, rightfully so. Wait now. So that means Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, Justus Knight, everybody who talks about it, that they're not credible. Well, this is where it gets a little shrouded, because in the same statements, he always seems to mention Epstein and Russia, Russia, Russia. Every statement, he almost mentions them hand in hand because, again, what he wants and what we want are actually one and the same. But the mind of Trump is different. He's at a different level at times. He's already moved many chess moves past, well, where we're at, because he knows more. An investigation looms, one that we've been waiting, and they've been trying to get certain files declassified, which are critical because it involves Brennan and Comey and Clinton and Obama and everybody who went after this man. But let's move forward because the assaults continue.
Whatever's credible, she can release. If a document is credible, if a document's there that is credible, she can release. I think it's good. But it's just a subject. He's dead. He's gone, and.
Okay, stop there. So now, even though just before she's released everything that's credible, now he comes back and says she can release whatever else is credible. See, the story keeps fluctuating because he's having trouble keeping his mind on the Epstein saga. To him, it's over. It's done with. He's seen something within those documents. He has called certain people and said, stop talking about it. So more than likely, either these documents have been altered, or they have disappeared entirely, or they have found out that they are corrupted documents driven by someone who's inside this mechanism that we all want exposed. And what if that mechanism of Russia, Steele dossier, and Epstein are all one and the same? Now, we just want one exposed. But he doesn't stop. And we'll continue to explain this.
All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook. And no different than Russia, and all the other hoaxes. They're started by the Democrats, and some Republicans, in this case I was surprised, but they got duped.
Ooh, now he's talking about House Republicans there, more than likely. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Mike Johnson, several others. And why would he be doing that? Because they may be standing in the way of what he's trying to accomplish. But he cannot tell them because these files have not been unsealed yet. They haven't been unclassified yet. So he's aggravated at them and his MAGA base for pushing on one part of the investigation that may jeopardize the larger investigation. Now, again, in my opinion, this is piss poor communication. But we got to go a step further. Because remember, it's not once, it's not twice, but he did this 3 times yesterday. And it got a little worse each time, all the way through to his Truth Social post. This one that we're going to cover. Now, before I go into it, huge favor. We can all get emotional on these topics, and I can get emotional on these topics, and I don't hold it back from you. It's not the style that I broadcast here or at Restricted Republic. And if you like that, I'd love you to sub here. It means the world to me. And for those of you that double checked that you were subscribed, thank you so very much. Those of you participated in which thumbnail was the best yesterday, thank you so very much. Those of you that joined as members, I truly appreciate it. Keeps the lights and cameras on. And those of you that joined mine and Lisa's family over at restrictedrepublic.com, got monthly, annual subscriptions. That's our news platform. We're beholden to no one but ourselves and you, our audience. And there's a reason we created that platform. And once you're over there, your eyes will be opened to what news was meant to be. restrictedrepublic.com. We'd love you there today. Go ahead, follow me on Facebook too. That way you get a little insight into what Lisa and I do when these cameras turn off. And trust me, sometimes it's equally as entertaining. But now let's get back to the story, shall we? Because we got a ton to cover. The third mechanism of what happened yesterday now.
Verify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the Attorney General. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that...
Okay, you see what he did there. So now he's given away a little bit of the game. She was asking about Epstein. Everybody's calling the files a hoax. He immediately reverted to it's been 4 years of a Steele dossier hoax and Russia, which means in my mind, what he's saying and we're saying are actually the same thing. But we're just on 2 separate playbooks. He's seen something within the Epstein files that may directly connect it to the larger conspiracy that we're all looking for answers on. And this will be the mercy moment that everyone will forgive and say, mea culpa, we're okay. But he's doing a really bad job of getting us there, so I'll let him continue for a moment.
Turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
and so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist run.
Okay, and then he goes off. He goes off into another tangent, and why aren't we looking at what he's doing? Everybody is looking at what he's doing. No one is forgetting about the great things he's doing. It's not the point. The point is we all want this bigger mechanism, conspiracy solved. And we had the first key towards it put before us, and that was the Epstein case. And so when the base saw that that case got closed prematurely, they got upset because it would appear then all the cases got closed. Well, Trump knows that they're not all closed. It's just one step towards it. But he hasn't communicated that really well. Well, he's about to. This is the part that is hard to understand. It's hard to accept. It's hard to take emotion out of it, right? And then he quadruples down. This is the part he's struggling with right now because he's in active emotional mode. This is quintessential President Trump. The radical left Democrats have had, I'm sorry, let me get this correct for you, go full screen. The radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again. Just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, which the Dems swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. And even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. These scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They are no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we'll forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. You see how he's always putting these two together. This machine is using all these storylines, according to President Trump, to distract from policy, to distract from change. So what he's saying there is it is all part of the same machine. Does that mean that Epstein is part of the machine? Not some sole outlier that was simply out there blackmailing people, but rather a part of the very same machine. And why he wants it dismissed so quickly? Because it could involve another investigation. I ain't making excuses for President Trump here. Don't think that for a minute. Listen to my prior broadcast. You'll know exactly that is not the case. But I'm just reading what he's putting out here. And my past supporters have bought into this BS. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will. Even after being let's slow down a little bit here, okay? Let's slow down here a little bit. This is where he goes off the rails and why we're all taking issue with him. No, you're wrong. We have learned our lesson. We're not dupes. We know that Epstein lived. We know what he did. Your administration told us what he did. You said you would release the information. You can't just push that off the table and pretend it doesn't exist. You can, however, say, this could impede a larger investigation. I need you all just to stand down for a moment. I got this. And everybody would have been fine. But that's not what he does. He gets mad. He gets angry. He's in active mode. I don't want their support anymore. Now you went too far. Now these words can't be forgotten. You can't take these back. How many times have you been upset in an argument? You said something, you just tried to grab those words like, oh, damn it. I should not have said that. It hurts, right? It's what he's doing now. Because this is personal for him. These are personal statements. This man is hurt. He has been hurt. Wouldn't you be? Look what they've done to him. His family. His legacy. And these are emotionally driven statements. So yeah, he's so emotionally driven, he's attacking his own base because he mentally cannot process how they can't see what he could see. And that comes with someone, and I know this will create a whole bunch of comments, who has a really high intellect level. Sometimes they have trouble dropping down and understanding. Why don't you see what I see? Why don't you understand what I understand? Well, A, you're processing at sometimes a higher level. And more importantly, you have a whole heck of a lot more information than we do. So not fair, President Trump, not fair. Slow your roll. And remember who put you there. But let's go on here, because there's a lot of pieces moving that will now tie this story together. Maureen Comey wiped out yesterday. A lot of DOJ prosecutors wiped out by Pam Bondi. They're cleaning house. The case that Patel and Bondi's working on for President Trump, the big one, the big machine case, the big conspiracy case, the unclassified files they're trying to get declassified, the ones they need to tie this all together, to Comey, to Brennan, to Clapper, to Obama, to Clinton. They're all almost here. But they got to clean house first because they can't have corruption. And this is an indicator of getting close. The same lady who prosecuted both Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Bye-bye. You see, it's all the same story. These aren't two separate stories. It's one. Trump is having problems separating them right now. And we're having these blow-ups. Justice Department lawyer who filed the key court declarations to keep the Epstein files from release was Maureen Comey. And now she gets canned. Why do you think that is? Because they need every file unimpeded in their investigation. But there's only one person who could do the investigation. That person doesn't exist right now. Oh, it can't be Pam Bondi. Can't be Kash Patel. Can't be President Trump. Can't be Dan Bongino. They could just contribute to an investigation, or in Pam Bondi's case, prosecute. So who would that be? You would need one more person for me to put this story together for you and show you that it's actually valid what's happening. You don't think I'm going to get there, huh? Now, Ghislaine knows this. Something's coming. Congress, I want to come testify. I have information for you before this something is launched. And Trump cracked. We probably pushed him forward a little bit more than he wanted to be pushed forward. And this will change everything forever. And it's okay. I think he needed to be pushed forward a little bit. I think Pam Bondi needed to be pushed forward a little bit. I think they were going a little too slow, my humble opinion. And how do we know that? Secret meeting, open documents, floodgates on Trump-Russia hoax. You see, it's out there. Paul Sperry did this. Same man who's testified in front of Congress, given us a lot of accurate intelligence. Trump administration officials held an urgent meeting Sunday to discuss new information on Russiagate, which they might use to build a criminal conspiracy case against Obama and Biden administrations. Political appointees who allegedly weaponized the government against Trump. Two Trump administration officials told real clear investigations. You see, this is the big boy, the big daddy, the one Trump wants. And he's aggravated with his MAGA base, who keeps focusing on Epstein because it's part of the same thing. And he doesn't want any distractions. He doesn't want anything blowing the case. So they start eliminating any prosecutors who could stand in the way. And unfortunately, he tries to eliminate some of the MAGA base who could be standing in the way. That was an error on his part. But we still have an investigation. But to have an investigation, you need a prosecutor. And that would tie it all together, right? John Solomon just did. Trump cracked. And he's now done the very thing. He's agreed to what we've all been pushing for. And this is the mea culpa moment. Everything will be fine the minute this is announced, because MAGA will stand down and they will wait and they will watch, because then these two stories will truly be investigated. Listen in here.
So he's on board with the situation of getting a special prosecutor and having the Epstein situation put into that, so that can be formally looked
anything
at.
Anything legitimate that should be looked at.
And really in a criminal context.
He volunteered it, by the way, Steve. You know, I ask about the special, he immediately volunteers and then I follow up on it. But he immediately brings up Epstein. Like, just throw that in. Let's get it all answered. I got nothing to hide. I want truth and I want prosecutions. And I just want the justice system to take care of what needs to be taken care of. It was.
And there you have it, folks. Just throw the Epstein investigation in with the Russia investigation. It's always been one and the same. And that's why Trump's aggravated. And that's why he's lashing out at the MAGA base. Because he, as you've all said in the comments, is playing a different game of chess. He's just not communicating it correctly because he's in active emotional mode. And how many of us communicate well when we're over emotional? So there, for all of you who said I was being too rough on him, I took a deep breath. I put it out there. But don't expect for me not to be upset when he yells at me, for me not to yell back. I can't wait to see your comments. I hope that made sense to you, because a lot of people aren't putting that together. We're not as far apart as it may appear. And in moments, Trump just, cracked and gave in and put on the table what's actually happening. I love you all. Can't wait to see your comments below. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.